In a move that has captivated Catholics around the world, Pope Leo XIV will revive a cherished papal tradition this summer by spending time at Castel Gandolfo, the historic summer residence of the popes. While it may appear to be a personal retreat from the sweltering Roman heat, this decision carries deep symbolic meaning, a thoughtful return to the rhythms that have shaped the papacy for centuries. From July 6th to July 20th, the Pope will reside at this peaceful estate on the shores of Lake Albano. It's just an hour south of Rome. This site has long served as a place of rest and spiritual renewal for popes since the early 1600s. The decision signals more than a need for respite. It reflects a subtle but powerful message, a respectful revival of tradition, adding further significance. Pope Leo will return to Castel Gandolfo from August 15th to 17th, coinciding with the Feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, holy day deeply revered in the Catholic world and a national holiday in Italy. By choosing to be there during this sacred time, the Pope is reaffirming the connection between his leadership and the enduring customs of the Church. While Castel Gandolfo has welcomed generations of popes, the tradition quietly paused during the pontificate of Pope Francis, who chose not to use the estate, instead opening the Apostolic Palace to the public as a museum, a gesture of humility and transparency. Pope Leo will honor that choice. He will not reside in the Grand Palace, but rather in a more modest building on the estate, blending simplicity with continuity. This balance is deliberate and meaningful. Pope Leo is not reversing the reforms of his predecessor. Rather, he is enriching them, showing that the past still has something to offer the present. The Vatican has confirmed that all public and private audiences will be suspended from July 18th through July 23rd. This pause is not just for rest, but also for prayer, silence, and reflection, echoing the spiritual retreats of past popes who used their summer stays to reconnect with God away from the pressures of daily governance. The estate itself, spanning 55 hectares, includes gardens, woodlands, chapels, and even a working dairy farm. Its quiet beauty has long made it a sanctuary for reflection, a place where the spiritual weight of leadership could be both embraced and lightened. The reaction has been warm and hopeful. On social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, Catholics across the globe welcomed the news. Some simply posted Castel Gandolfo welcomes back the Pope, while others praised the move as a restoration of sacred tradition. Beneath these simple statements lies something profound, a yearning for connection with the past, with the Church, and with a sense of spiritual continuity. Local businesses in Castel Gandolfo are preparing for an increase in pilgrims, tourists, and journalists. As in centuries past, when the Pope is present, the world notices, but more than the spectacle, it is the quiet dignity of the moment that is drawing attention. In choosing to return to Castel Gandolfo, Pope Leo XIV is sending a message that tradition still matters, that silence still has value, and that leadership, especially spiritual leadership, requires moments of stillness. He is not merely continuing old practices, he is reinterpreting them for our time, showing how the Church can be both deeply rooted and forward-looking. Commentators have noted the significance of this gesture. Leo's heading to Castel Gandolfo shows respect for history while charting his own path, one user wrote. That sentiment reflects what many are sensing. The Pope is not retreating into the past, but carrying its wisdom into the future. Since Pope Urban VIII first built the palace in the 17th century, nearly every pope has spent time in Castel Gandolfo. Some penned encyclicals there, others found strength in prayer. Now, Pope Leo joins this lineage not to reclaim old power or comfort, but to re-engage with the sacred rhythms that have guided the papacy for centuries. In doing so, he offers the Church and the world a gentle reminder that faith is not always found in noise, that leadership can begin in silence, and that even in a modern world, the timeless traditions of the Church still offer meaning, peace, and renewal. What Pope Leo XIV is doing at Castel Gandolfo is not merely symbolic, it is pastoral. In choosing to re-engage with this sacred space, he is embracing a model of leadership that values spiritual rhythm over constant motion. The modern papacy is often associated with global visibility, packed schedules, and rapid responses to complex crises. In contrast, this quiet retreat reaffirms the truth that effective leadership also requires rest, discernment, and inner clarity. This move also invites Catholics to reflect on their own relationship with silence and tradition. In an era where distraction is constant and reflection often feels like a luxury, the Pope's example becomes an invitation to slow down, to reconnect with God, and to recognize the value of sacred time and space. The physical beauty of Castel Gandolfo is striking. Overlooking the crater lake of Albano, surrounded by ancient oaks and immaculately kept gardens, it exudes a sense of timeless calm. But for the Catholic Church, its meaning goes beyond geography or aesthetics. Castel Gandolfo represents a spiritual threshold, a place where the divine meets the human, where leaders have sought quiet to hear God's voice more clearly. By returning here, Pope Leo reminds the Church that such places still matter, not because they are old or picturesque, but because they create the conditions for conversion, contemplation, and communion. Though only a few months into his papacy, Pope Leo XIV has already signaled that his approach to leadership will be one of integration rather than polarization. His return to Castel Gandolfo is not a rejection of modern reforms, nor is it a nostalgic return to past grandeur. It is a harmonious gesture, one that blends the humility of Pope Francis with the historical richness of centuries of tradition. Observers have begun to suggest that this choice reflects a broader vision, a church that listens and leads, that honors its past without becoming trapped in it. A church that understands the value of heritage and holiness, even in a digital, fast-moving world. Pope Leo's decision to return in August for the Feast of the Assumption adds a final, deeply spiritual layer to this story. The Assumption is one of the great Marian feasts, celebrating the Virgin Mary's entry into heaven, body and soul. It is a day of hope and mystery, one that reminds the faithful of God's promises and the dignity of the human body and soul. By aligning his presence with this feast, the Pope is making a profound theological statement. He is placing himself among the faithful not only as a leader, but as a pilgrim. He is joining millions in honoring Mary, and in doing so, pointing the Church toward its eternal horizon. In the end, Pope Leo XIV's return to Castel Gandolfo may not make headlines the way major policy shifts or international visits do, but its impact could be just as lasting. By reclaiming the value of silence, by honoring tradition without idolizing it, and by choosing stillness over spectacle, Pope Leo is quietly redefining what it means to lead in the 21st century Church. This summer, as the gates of Castel Gandolfo open once again to welcome the Pope, they also open a deeper conversation about time, tradition, rest, and renewal. And in that conversation, the Church may rediscover not only part of its past, but also a key to its future.